Welcome to JazzLive at Home, a part of the BNY Mellon Presents JazzLive series presented by the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust.
Hello and welcome back to BNY Mellon Presents JazzLive at Home, a production of the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. I'm Terry Bell and I'm very happy to visit today with drummer, educator, composer, and jazz historian Thomas Wendt. Thomas is a graduate of the prestigious Pittsburgh High School for the Creative and Performing Arts and has been playing the drums professionally since the age of 14. He has studied with the incredible master drummers Roger Humphreys, Joe Harris, and Kenny Washington, and has developed a style that is rooted in the tradition of the pioneers of bebop like Kenny Clark, Max Roach, and Jimmy Cobb. Thomas is one of the most in-demand drummers in Pittsburgh and has played with some of the city's biggest names, including Dwayne Dolphin, Joe Negri, the Latin group Sal Samba, Sean Jones, and many, many others. He is also an original member and current manager of the Pittsburgh Jazz Orchestra. Thomas has also made his mark beyond Pittsburgh, playing with international artists like Donald Byrd, James Moody, Jimmy Heath, Clark Terry, Monty Alexander, Wycliffe Gordon, Ann Hampton Callaway, and Hubert Laws, among many, many others. In 2008, Thomas played on the Emmy Award-winning soundtrack for the PBS documentary Flyboys, and in 2010, he recorded an album featuring trombonists Jay Ashby and Steve Davis entitled Mistaken Identity. Thomas is an amazing jazz historian and knows more about the music, the musicians, and its history than most anyone I know, which gives him all the tools needed to also be a great educator. In addition to teaching at Duquesne University's City Music Center, he has also been on faculty at Pittsburgh's Afro-American Music Institute in the city's Homewood neighborhood since 1998. It was great to check in with him and hear how he's doing and what he's been up to. You'll hear his respect for the music and for the elders who created it shine through, and he also gives us a glimpse of his impressive collection of vinyl. I hope you enjoy this visit today with Thomas Wendt.
Hey everybody, Thomas Wendt here. Very honored to be part of the Cultural Trust's JazzLive at Home series. And here we are at home, here in my house out in Penn Hills. And it's wonderful to have an opportunity to talk to you. It's been a long time. I've been doing the best I can during this pandemic, which is continuing. I'm very thankful to say, though, that I'm doing well. My family and I are healthy, and all of my friends are healthy as well. So very happy to report that. It's been very difficult to not be able to work, to not be able to play music with people, although I've been able to do a few things, which has been a wonderful thing. I'm the kind of person who always likes to be productive every day in some kind of way. So naturally, I've been spending a lot of time practicing my instrument, which I like to do anyway. So it's been nice to have some extra time to do that. But I've also been able to get back to reading, which is something I really love to do. And prior to the pandemic, it was very hard for me to find time to read because I was so busy. It's been wonderful to get back into it because I have a stack of books that I've been wanting to read now for quite a long time. So I thought I'd share a few of them that I've been reading with you. The first one that I finished a couple weeks ago is a wonderful book on the life of Malcolm X called Malcolm X, A Life of Reinvention, written by a wonderful black scholar named Manning Marable. He was a professor emeritus at Columbia University. I've also been reading a really fascinating book by a great political thinker named Sheldon Woolen. This is called Politics and Vision. This was a book that was written in 1960, and I've never really read any political philosophy, but if you are someone who studies that, this is like one of the Bibles. This is like one of the books that you read, and it's really fascinating because it kind of ties the ancient history of the Greeks and the origin of political thought and the origin of political philosophy sort of into our country and our political system. It's very, very interesting. And I also actually went back and read a book that I had read several years ago, which is really amazing. This is a book by James H. Cone called The Cross and the Lynching Tree. This is a really, really wonderful book, and I think that all Americans should read this, especially us white Americans. This will give you some incredible perspective and a lot of really wonderful things to think about. And I've also gone back and read some of my favorite James Baldwin things as well.
I loved you so since that first day.
I always make time to listen to music, but it's been wonderful to have a little extra time because it's allowed me to sort of get back into my record collection and pull out some things that I haven't played for a long time, and I thought I would share a few of those things with you. One of them is this record. This was recorded in 1973, I believe. This is the great U.B. Blake. U.B. Blake is one of the most important of the early jazz musicians, one of the great jazz pianists and composers. He wrote a bunch of great jazz standards, tunes like Memories of You, I'm Just Wild About Harry. He also wrote some Broadway shows, Shuffle Along being probably the best known. This is a record he made called The 86 Years of U.B. Blake, which he recorded in 73 when he was 86. He actually lived to be 96, if you can believe that. Another record that I've gotten into is a record by this gentleman, Willie Ruff, who was the bassist and French horn player for a great duo called the Mitchell-Ruff Duo. And in the early 60s, he made a record, this one, The Smooth Side of Willie Ruff, on Columbia under his own name. And this features the great Pittsburgh bassist Ray Brown, in addition to two of my favorite drummers, the great Grady Tate and Ed Thigpen. And I've also gotten back into listening to some of the more obscure vocalists in jazz. I love listening to singers, and this is a record on Prestige recorded by a woman named Pat Bowie, who is a really fine singer. This is a great band on this record. This is from I believe, 1965. So just a few of the things that I've been listening to that I've pulled out of my collection and haven't played in a while. So really had a wonderful time doing all of those things. I feel like I've benefited immensely from the incredible jazz legacy that's here in Pittsburgh. As a drummer, my main teachers and mentors include, first and foremost, the great Roger Humphreys, also the late great Joe Harris, also the late great Ron Tucker, who's a great drummer who never gets any recognition. Also Roger's nephew Greg Humphreys. All of these drummers are really world-class musicians, and a big reason why I decided to stay here in Pittsburgh, because I could learn from some of the truly best drummers in jazz right here. In addition to them, I was incredibly fortunate to be able to spend a lot of time playing with some of the great Pittsburgh jazz masters, people like guitarists Jimmy Ponder and Joe Negri, Mark Strickland, Hammond organist Gene Ludwig, bassists Dwayne Dolphin, Bobby Boswell, Mike Taylor, vocalists Sandy Staley, David and Maureen Budway. All of these people were incredibly important to my musical and personal development, and there's more. Late great pianist Mulgrew Miller, who we unfortunately lost way too soon, when he would talk about his mentors and teachers, he would often invoke the spiritual "I've got a charge to keep," and he would talk about how people like Art Blakey and Betty Carter were giving him a certain charge that he feels like he needs to keep. And as I get a little bit older, I am certainly starting to feel that very thing, that I have a charge to keep. All of these great Pittsburgh masters, not only was I able to know them and spend time with them and watch them play, but also to play in their bands regularly. That's something as a young musician that you really just cannot put a price tag on. It's really the only way to learn how to play this music, and I am incredibly grateful to them, and I certainly feel like I have their charge to keep. There's definitely one that sticks out for me as being especially memorable, and it's actually just in the last year and a half or so. And that's when the Pittsburgh Jazz Orchestra debuted a piece that was commissioned by the Trust, that was written by saxophonist Chris Coles, called Only the Poets. Chris wrote this, dedicating it to the great James Baldwin. Only the Poets is a phrase from one of Baldwin's pieces. And it was memorable for me because it allowed us as artists and musicians to participate in an original piece that was really written for the moment that we were living in and are still living in. Jazz is a music of the moment. It's a spontaneous art form in so many ways, and I really feel like that opportunity allowed us to really participate in something that was in the moment. And it was a wonderful concert, and we were and still are very grateful for the Trust's giving us that opportunity to present that piece. One fun fact about me that people might not be aware of is that I do actually like to cook, even though I'm not that great at it just yet. I'm getting better. And the pandemic has definitely given me more of a chance to do a lot more cooking than I normally would. So I'm definitely getting better at it. Matter of fact, this morning I made a really nice curried lentil soup, which is right in there in my kitchen. And as soon as I'm done taping this, that's what's going to be happening. During this time of all of this civil unrest, there have been some terrible incidents. Of course, the horrible murders of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, among many, many, many others. It's certainly given me pause to think more about that and to try to remain a good guest in the house of jazz. This music comes from the Black American experience, and it is not a good experience. But Black Americans have given the world this incredible music out of that horrible experience. And I don't think I could think of anything else that's more inspirational than that. I've had the honor of being around some of the great masters of the music, and this time off has certainly made me even more aware of their great contributions, and has strengthened my resolve to be the best musician and person that I can be in trying to further uphold the amazing standards of this music in whatever small way I can. So I'm very grateful for this time, even though it's been difficult. I certainly hope that we will come out of it being better. That's for sure. Thank you all for your continued amazing support of all of us in the Pittsburgh jazz community. We truly could not do it without you. And of course, a huge special thanks to the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust for their continued support of all of us, as well through the JazzLive series, as well as other things. These are very difficult times that we're living in, no matter who you are. They're especially difficult for those of us in the arts. And we have a very, very important presidential election right around the corner. As a matter of fact, by the time you guys are watching this, the election will hopefully have ended. And no matter what the outcome of that election is, it's important for all of us to remain vigilant in seeking the truth, seeking out great art, and supporting and making great art as we go forward. These tough times won't last forever, and I look forward to seeing all of you when it is safe to do so. Thank you guys so much. Look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
We hope you've enjoyed this inside look at Pittsburgh's jazz scene and the artists who make it so very special. We'd like to thank our sponsor, BNY Mellon, for their continued support of the JazzLive series. And on behalf of all of us at the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and spending this time with us. We couldn't do it without you. We hope that you'll consider making a donation. It is through your generous support that we've been able to bring you world-class arts experiences for more than 35 years and to your home during this time of intermission. Please go to trustarts.org/supportjazz. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.